Welcome back to another episode of Finding God in Film. So I'm a full-grown woman, but I do enjoy a good Disney princess film, and you know what? I'm not ashamed to admit it. And hands down, one of my favorite Disney princesses is Tiana. She's so inspiring to me because her whole story and arc revolves around not only the importance of hard work and dedication, but also love and family. So this movie was already pretty high on my list. But like with so many other TV shows and movies, the second I started watching it looking for God, my eyes were open to so many beautiful parables and beautiful imagery that I never would have even noticed before. And it just always amazes me that the second you look for God, He appears. So without further ado, it's time to find God in The Princess and the Frog.
Because of our divine nature, we tell the stories that we already know. The story of our Savior and of His plan for us. The one true, eternal story.
Quick recap. Tiana dreams of one day having her very own restaurant in New Orleans. Things take a turn though when she meets Naveen, a visiting prince who was tricked and turned into a frog by the evil voodoo man, Dr. Facilier. Mistaking her for a princess and making a deal with her to help pay for her restaurant, Naveen convinces Tiana to kiss him, but instead of turning Naveen human, the kiss only turns Tiana into a frog. Together they embark on an adventure to find Mama Odie, the voodoo queen of the bayou, to break the spell. Along the way they fall in love, and because she is now technically a princess through marriage, their wedding kiss ends up being the one to break the curse. There are a lot of inspiring themes and messages in this movie that I could spend a lot of time delving into, like the importance of hard work, family, and even life after death. But it's too much to fit in one video.
Let me explain. No, there is too much.
So today, I just want to focus on one theme. And hey, if you like this video and want a part 2, let me know by liking and subscribing. But the repeating theme that I noticed that I want to focus on today is the theme of darkness versus light. Light and darkness are often used to portray good and evil in both man-made parables and God-given ones. We will start first by taking a look at our antagonist, Dr. Facilier. Dr. Facilier is often referred to as the Shadow Man. He feeds off of darkness, greed, and manipulation. He relies literally on devils to control and abuse others. He's scary because he's real. Satan and his followers are unfortunately real. And just like Dr. Facilier, they want to confuse and corrupt, to trick and destroy. But just as with Dr. Facilier and his minions, there is one way to stop Satan: through light. There are multiple portrayals of light in this movie, the main sources being from the Fireflies, of which one is literally named Ray, and Mama Odie, who's the antithesis of the Shadow Man. She uses her powers for good, relying on light and joy instead of darkness and manipulation. Though she is a bit creepy in her own right. Honestly, triggered by that snake scene.
Get a little sugar now.
Stop it. Get some help.
But we see multiple times that Dr. Facilier's demons are conquered through light. The interesting thing is that the scriptures also use imagery of light to portray the Savior of the world, Jesus Christ. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? Then spake Jesus again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. He is the light and life of the world, yea, a light that is endless, that can never be darkened, yea, and also a life which is endless, that there can be no more death. If I am in a lighted room and I use my hands to make a shadow, the shadow does nothing to affect the light around it. It's powerless. But if I turn on a flashlight in pure darkness, that ray of light pierces through the darkness, and the darkness can't help but scatter away. So too is God's power. Christ's love is piercing and powerful and sends Satan and his minions running. He truly is the light of the world, and embracing his light brings peace and calmness into our own lives. But what's cool is that Christ isn't the only one capable of fending off Satan's darkness. You can too. But the path of the just is as the shining light, that shineth more and more unto the perfect day. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and it giveth light unto all that are in the house. Let your light so shine before men, that they may see your good works, and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Verily I say unto you all, arise and shine forth, that thy light may be a standard for the nations. By simply being children of God and disciples of Christ, his light can shine through us. In fact, that's what LowerLight Studios is all about. There is a famous hymn entitled "Brightly Beams Our Father's Mercy," and the lyrics go as follows. Brightly beams our Father's mercy from his lighthouse evermore, but to us he gives the keeping of the lights along the shore. Let the lower lights be burning, send a gleam across the wave, some poor, fainting, struggling seaman, you may rescue, you may save. Dark the night of sin has settled, loud the angry billows roar, eager eyes are watching, longing for the lights along the shore. Trim your feeble lamp, my brother. Some poor sailor tempest-tossed, trying now to make the harbor, in the darkness may be lost. The song depicts life without Christ pretty well. A sailor fainting, struggling, surrounded by darkness, sin, anger, and tempests. The world is full of darkness and sin and confusion, and it's really easy to get lost in it. But when we are brought to see the light and joy that comes from being a disciple of Christ, not only are we freed from that darkness, we now have an opportunity to be what's called a lower light. Many of us are familiar with lighthouses. They shine from the coast, helping to guide sailors to the shore. But as this song mentions, there are often lower lights dotting the seashore, warning of rocks that might be jutting out into the sea that the sailor might be unaware of, and safely guiding the sailor to the lighthouse. This hymn so beautifully teaches, as Christ did, that once we have had the blessing of partaking of Christ's light, we not only have the opportunity, but the responsibility to share our light with others and guide others to him. This exact thing is actually replicated in The Princess and the Frog, as the fireflies guide Tiana and Naveen to Mama Odie, the savior-esque figure of the movie, literally through their light. And we too can guide others to Christ by sharing our own light. I think a lot of people might think that it's silly to look for God's influence in an animated movie made for kids and adults who like Disney movies. But in a world full of so much darkness, where it's so easy to drown in Satan's tempests, it is our responsibility to look for Christ and shine his light in every way that we can. And like I was saying in the beginning, I've noticed time and time again that the second you look for him, God appears, because everything testifies of him. From the birds in the sky, to a beautiful sunset, to even the spirit that you feel watching a movie that wasn't even meant to testify of him in the first place. And it is by looking for his light and being his light that we can conquer the adversary. That we are able to overcome the darkness and despair of this world through hope and joy and light and happiness. We can be like Mama Odie. We can cast out the darkness through Christ's light, and Satan doesn't stand a chance. I invite you to be a lower light. And what that means is up to you. Maybe it means sharing your testimony with others, even though it can be scary. Or looking for gospel symbolism in an otherwise dreary world. Or maybe it means simply showing kindness to the tempest-tossed sailor that just needs a friend. But whatever it is, know that you have the power to thwart the adversary and his darkness through Christ's everlasting light. And that is pretty cool.